Species.
Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 136 of Origin of Species, the show where we talk about words, phrases, and other stuff. As always, I'm joined by my good friend Steve, and today we're going to be talking about Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Yes, so I had someone reach out to me and say, you should do a Valentine's Day episode, and I realized I don't think we've done one. We've done like tie the knot, like you did a marriage themed one.
Right, we did a marriage themed one. I don't think we've done Valentine's Day, and I hope we haven't because we're doing it now, and I'm fine.
Well, I know we haven't done the origin of Valentine's Day, but I was thinking, have we done a Valentine's Day episode? I don't think we have. So when this comes out, it'll just be a few days before Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And I was looking at words or phrases or, idioms to do, and there's some decent ones out there. But as I was looking into just Valentine's Day itself, I realized, you know what? This is interesting, and I didn't know it, which is really, that's what to me the show is about, is not even so much, it is words and phrases, but it's more like learning interesting things. So
definitely. And I know that there was a Saint Valentine, and I don't know too much of the history of him or anything else, because I've always viewed Valentine's Day as like a manufactured holiday by Hallmark.
Yes.
To generate sales of cards between Christmas and Easter to get a little income.
So there's actually a term for that, which is shockingly just called Hallmark holidays. And there's a group of people that kind of hang on to the idea that these are, created by Hallmark, which Hallmark is to the point where Hallmark actually put out a statement, which basically just says, we wish we could take credit for starting these holidays.
Right.
But to your point, we're going to talk about, so we'll keep it to Valentine's Day, but even like Mother's Day, Father's Day, there's a day for just about everything.
Yeah.
You can't say that Hallmark created it, but on the other hand, they're enabling, if nothing else.
We'll see. And since this video is posted on YouTube, I'm sure that YouTube will review it to make sure we didn't put out any misinformation. So if we have done that and like somebody buys a card and they shouldn't, or makes a decision on their own, we'll make sure that YouTube jumps in and takes care of that.
Right. We want to make sure. And frankly, I just want to say that
ivermectin.
I wasn't going to say ivermectin,
okay.
But now that the ivermectin is out, now we're definitely demonetized.
Oh yeah, nuts.
I just want to say I welcome our digital overlords. I in Russia or China or even just the NSA, you guys are killing it. You're doing a great job. So
they are.
Keep it up.
They're doing a good job. They've kind of bared down on something they're good at and really have focused in on it. So good for them.
That's right.
And if we do get demonetized, I'll get the discount Valentine's Day card for whomever I need to purchase that for.
I haven't bought a card that's more than, if I'm lucky, it's like $199, $299. That is the first thing I pull up. I look at the back because frankly, if it's $6.99, I don't care how good the writing is in it, like how much it captures how I feel. You know how I feel? $5.99 is too much for a card. I also know if it has that wrapping on the outside, like the plastic, it's a no-go from me.
Yeah, because that's $2 right there.
Yeah. Would you rather have a nice card that cost $8, or would you rather have maybe an extra order of mozzarella sticks at Applebee's or wherever I may end up taking my date if that were to happen?
Or me, if you're buying mozzarella sticks, it might be me that you're taking out.
Well, we'll see. We still got a few days.
Yeah.
I have been, all kidding aside, for the last few years, for Valentine's Day, I spend it with my daughter, and we do. I will tell you a funny little story that's actually related, which is, so ever since you said you sort of were throwing around your Chick-fil-A status, a couple episodes ago, and I will say it. I took it personal. No, I didn't take it personal. Well, I did. I didn't take it Michael Jordan style personal, but I did think, who's this guy? He's just waving around his red status, and now his whatever you are, you're like you said, you're part of the Southern elite.
Yes.
So I got the app, and then I was like, dang, I got to buy a lot of Chick-fil-A to get to where I want to get. But
You gotta have.
Chick-fil-A,
Mhm.
yeah, Chick-fil-A has been known to do cool things on Valentine's Day. So I know somebody who is like a general manager of a Chick-fil-A,
Mhm.
not by my house, but like 30 minutes away.
Okay.
And I messaged her and I said, hey, is Chick-fil-A doing the Valentine's thing this year? She's like, yes, exclamation point. So I'm
Mhm.
like, cool, I have an insider that can tell me, because sometimes it's hard to
Ooh,
find on the website, you know.
yeah.
And I've taken my daughter before, and it's really fun. Like, they've had people there playing music, they have like flowers, they make it very special, and she like really loves it. So
Mhm.
I said to my friend, I was like, cool. So you know, can you get me on a list, or what do I do? And have you ever had it where you feel like you think you have an insider, and then they basically tell you, like, call customer service?
Oh.
She was like, just yeah, just call the local Chick-fil-A and they can, and I was just like, oh, okay. Well, I could have done that without you, but thanks.
Was the gap in time enough for someone to get on a computer and look up, like, maybe log into a
Um,
website to see someone's status?
Potentially.
Okay.
Mm.
We'll see. I'll talk to my connections in the Chick-fil-A Illuminati and see
Oh,
if I can get
my
them. Yeah,
status.
yeah.
I thought you meant like status as far as like single or not, but
No.
you mean my Chick-fil-A status.
Yeah, your
Oh
membership
my
level.
gosh. Yeah, I may ask you to reach out. She knows.
I'll see what I can do. Colonel Steve will get involved for you.
That's
Don't worry
right.
about it.
That's probably why she doesn't talk to me anymore. Or it's because I'm only going to her for inside information for Chick-fil-A. So the origin of Valentine's Day is very
Yes.
interesting. Before I get to that, though, I do want to talk about that there is something called Singles Awareness Day, which, let me just explain what that is. So Singles Awareness Day or Singles Appreciation Day is celebrated on February 15th.
Mhm,
Um, it's an unofficial holiday celebrated by single people, and it
mhm,
serves as a complement to Valentine's Day for people who are single.
mhm,
It's a celebration of all forms of love, recognizing the love between friends and loving yourself. Some people who observe Single Awareness Day do so out of spite for Valentine's Day as a Hallmark holiday or for
mm,
other reasons.
mhm.
Now, if you're celebrating
Right.
Single Awareness Day, you you've lost the plot completely. First of all, it stands for sad,
Yeah.
which is probably, I'm hoping this is kind of a joke, but look, if you don't have here's my advice. If you do not have a Valentine for Valentine's Day, do what I do with, I don't know, Whoopi Goldberg. Just pretend it doesn't exist. Your life will be much better. Just move on. You don't have to create a separate holiday. Now, you know
Mhm.
that I love to see what other countries do. So America has Singles Awareness Day or
Right.
Singles Appreciation Day, which again, I highly suggest you do not
Yeah.
um, partake of this, because really you're just going to keep that trend going. But in the and they do it in the UK as well. They actually call it National Singles Day. But oh, by the way, March 11th is
Yes.
Solo Poly Day.
Oh, please explain what that is.
I have no idea what that is, and I'm not
Okay.
typing it in.
Yeah.
Because Solo Poly Day. Oh, well, I guess if you just do the math, it's you're polyamorous, whatever that means exactly.
Mhm.
But actually, that's way more sad than just being single. If you're
Listen,
poly solo,
if you're polyamorous and you don't have anybody, that's
right?
tough because
That is,
your options are much more open than some sort of traditional person who just procreates,
yeah,
and has sex with the opposite sex. So, I mean,
yeah,
maybe those guys do need, or gals, or whatever, word they've made up. Maybe they need a
yeah.
day, because if you're polyamorous and running solo,
You're
that's
right.
that is gonna be tough. And that
I've
sounds like
changed my
something
mind.
that maybe
Mhm.
Hallmark wouldn't sponsor, but I could see Pornhub, wanting to slap a sticker on that. Maybe that would be a good fit.
Is that an actual web? I've heard that. I've heard that name before,
I've heard
but I'm not.
I've certainly never been there
Yeah.
today.
Um, but I agree with you, and I'm going to go ahead and change my mind. If you celebrate Singles Awareness Day, you suck. If you celebrate Solo Poly Day, you
Yeah,
deserve to go
yeah,
ahead, because you're putting it out there for like literally everyone, and it's a swing and a
yeah.
miss. Although it could be by choice, but then why call yourself poly, right?
Why not?
I really hope we get educated on this. I hope somebody
I hope we
educates
don't.
us, because I know. Um, I'm going to celebrate this year the way they do in South Korea, and it's called Black Day.
Okay. Well, it's February, so I think that's it. That's good. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, let me tell you about Black Day. So basically, South Korea, this is South Korea. They have Valentine's Day like we do. Then they have something called White Day. So the way this works is, which I don't think we could have that here, but so Valentine's Day, it's basically like, generally speaking, the dude buys something for the female,
Right.
like whatever. Then on White Day, the other person reciprocates and gives something else. So a month later, on March 13th. So that's where the term Black Day comes from. So it's basically like all the people that don't get to participate in Valentine's Day or White Day, they do Black Day, which they basically buy stuff for, it's people. Here's what they do though.
Yeah.
People who don't receive gifts on the previous 2 days gather and eat. Man, I looked up this pronunciation. Jajangmyeon, which is noodles with black sauce.
Okay.
And so a bunch of single people eating noodles. I mean, I like it. I would do that. So that's what I'm going to do. So now that we've got that out of the way, we can talk about all the lovely couples who do celebrate Valentine's Day. Good for you. Steve, I know that you have been celebrating Valentine's Day with the same person for a few years now. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. I have a good routine down. We generally agree every year that we're not going to celebrate, which means I buy things for my wife and my daughter.
Exactly. And it's always women, has any woman ever said, "Don't buy me anything"? Now you're going to tell me that she does really mean it when she says it, but
I've never found out.
There you go. That's the correct answer. So you mentioned before, so I was looking at this. Okay. I have no clue where Valentine's Day comes from. I'm like you. I'm like, I guess they're, Saint Valentine. I'm thinking about Saint Pat. You hear these saints that holidays are named after, but then it's like, well, what were they real? What did they actually do? So there were multiple saints named Valentine or Valentinus. It was a very common Roman name. So I'm going to go through a couple of the potential Saint Valentines here, who the holiday could have been named after. So one legend says that Valentine was a priest who served during the 3rd century in Rome, when Emperor Claudius II decided that single men make better soldiers than married men, or than those with wives and families. He outlawed marriage for young men. So Valentine, this guy Valentine, realizing that this was, not a good idea, defied Claudius and married young couples in secret. So one thing I've learned doing this show, and I think we've talked about this before, no matter what the origin is of anything, it's almost always got some sort of dark history. The more I think about it, the more there's no origin that we can tell that is not somehow ensconced in like tragedy, because you know what, life is hard, and it was much harder 2,000 years ago. That's an understatement.
Scientific fact.
YouTube, that's true. You can't take that down. So with that having been said, when Valentine was discovered with what he was doing, Claudius went ahead and beheaded him. So that's pretty much what you get. There are others that believe that Saint Valentine is Saint Valentine of Terni, which is a bishop, and that he was the true namesake of the holiday. So what did he do? Well, I don't know. There's nothing else said of him except for one thing. He was also beheaded by Claudius II.
Whoa. Well.
So, and this is real, by the way. Like, as far as, this is not just like some story.
Right. It's not an Aunt Peggy email.
There are 2 Saint Valentines that got beheaded by what is his name? Claudius II. So
Claudius be beheading.
Exactly.
Should have named the holiday after him.
Yeah, really. There are other stories that suggest Valentine may have been killed for attempting to help Christians escape harsh Roman prisons before he got beheaded, I guess, where Christians were beaten and tortured. According to one legend, an imprisoned Valentine actually sent the first Valentine greeting himself after he fell in love with a young girl, possibly his jailer's daughter, who visited him during his confinement. And before his death, it is alleged that he wrote her a letter signed "From your Valentine."
Oh.
So that I don't think is true. That part has been added on. What do we know?
That could be like a throwback Hallmark movie, though.
Oh,
Like if they did like a back in time instead of modern day woman who works in a big city going back to a small town,
right,
and learning some things. Maybe they could do like a period piece. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hallmark.
Yeah, she left Rome where she was a scribe, for the Roman times or whatever, to come back and fall in love with Sir Valentine. I could see it. Good call on that.
Thank you.
So we don't know how much truth there is to any of this stuff, but again, what we know and what this, these stories have in common is that started with Saint Valentine. There's a romantic aspect to it either way, right? There's the whole idea of marrying people in secret, or even just if he's rescuing Christians from wherever, that's still, it's a romantic idea and story in general. And also, of course, the other thing we know is they all got beheaded by Claudius.
Yeah.
So thanks, Claudius. By the Middle Ages, Saint Valentine was one of the most popular saints in both England and France. There are people that think that Valentine's Day being celebrated in mid-February is to commemorate the death of Saint Valentine, which probably happened around 270 AD. Others think that Valentine's Day was put into place to Christianize a pagan celebration called Lupercalia, which I cannot wait to tell you about. But first, I'm going to hand it over to you, Steve, for your new slang.
So before I hit my new slang, I wanted to give you some breaking news. This is just what's breaking news. So I've just learned about it. So you and I have been exchanging messages recently about the new trendy game Wordle.
Yes.
That we've enjoyed, and that so far, according to what's left on my browser history, I still haven't lost. Scott and I've also shared with Scott that I cleaned the cookies on my browser and didn't realize that I would lose my Wordle history. So I'm still we'll be calling betterhelp.com after the show to deal with that. But
rebuild, man, you got to pick up the pieces.
We got to go again. And that's maybe a tip for somebody too. Like once you do lose one, is to oopsie, I need to clear my cookies. However, that might not be an option soon because Wordle has just been acquired by the New York Times.
Boo. Well,
boo. It's okay. We can boo. They don't run the internet yet. We can.
I don't want to play my overplay my hand here and give away too much that I just booed the New York Times, but
yeah,
I'll go ahead. I think there's plenty of people that would boo that. Well, what was so great about it is the simplicity and the fact that it's just some dumb website. That's what's good about it. They're going to mess it up. There's going to be ads. Why can't we have nice things? Why?
I don't know. But Wordle was a nice thing. It was something that was stimulating. You mentioned you do it with your kids. I've been doing it with my daughter. It's something to talk about that's intelligent. You have to think a little bit during the middle of the day. You need a little mental break. It's better than going to Instagram, unless you're going to @Speaksies on Instagram. You could also go to @Speaksies at Twitter, but frankly, it's not worth it. But it was a good, something I felt was like a positive thing on the internet, which is rare. I mean, it is a diamond in a field of cow manure. And speaking of manure, it's now at the New York Times.
That's unfortunate.
It is.
And here's the thing though. I've already thought, you've probably thought about this too. Wordle is one of these things. It doesn't happen very often, but it has hit this. It became popular very quick and very popular. It's going to fade away very soon. People are going to get tired of doing it. And it's going to be one of those things that you think back and you remember, if you think back to the 90s and you think about certain trends that came and went really fast.
Yeah.
we're going to remember this as like that thing that hit. And then, I mean, frankly, Words with Friends was like that, to keep it
right.
And I put that back on my phone because Logan and I had been doing the Wordle every day. And I was like, hey, we should do Words with Friends. Is that still a thing? And then it is still a thing, but it's the amount of ads. It just makes it not worth it. Like this gauntlet of boxes with little X's and then other X's that aren't actually X's, but
right.
It's not like, how is this sustainable? Nobody wants to buy your dumb game. Like, what's the business model?
Right.
Somebody accidentally clicks it. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to
It's
get so
okay.
bitter.
No, you should be. It's Wordle. It's gone. Now, I will say, even though I am unhappy, kudos to Wordle, because they made something pretty simple. And I don't remember the figures, but I think they're going to be doing okay. I think that it'll be a good Valentine's Day for whoever is in their life, or maybe they hint a little bit about our new slang. Maybe it might prompt them to uncuff some people before they cash that check. But
well, let me be really clear, by the way, too. As much as I'm crapping on the New York Times, New York Times, I'm not opposed to Speaksies by the New York Times. If you want to pay us a bunch of money to do what we do, matter of fact, you can censor us. I just say we lean in. Tell us what to say.
Oh,
how
it's
much
easy.
is it going to cost?
I can do that already. All we just do is we look up everything and talk about how it's racist, and we're good.
If that's all it takes, how much? Yeah, I might go for it. But anyway, New York Times, Wordle, not a fan, but if they want to pay us money,
we'll take your money. And congrats to Wordle, and look forward to the op-ed about how Wordle is racist coming soon.
Yeah.
So now, let's do some new slang.
Let's do it.
New slang when you notice the stripe.
I feel like I really took the energy down with the Wordle thing there. So I'm going to bring it back up. We're going to bring some positive energy. This new slang is going to give us some good information. I think information that everybody can use. So this is the last time I'm going to say the words New York Times, hopefully today, unless they are sending us messages. And it's the last time I'm going to say that COVID was probably created in a lab in China, just in case YouTube is still listening to us. So let's talk about our new slang, uncuffing season. So this, I think, Scott, is the first new slang that is a sequel. So back in November 2020, in episode 93, I discussed something called cuffing season. But just doing cuffing season is like reading half a book. There's another term out there that balances out cuffing season. It's a yin to its yang, if you will. And by the way, happy Lunar New Year. It's my first one as a Belgian Mongolian. So I just want to wish that to you.
Hey, happy Lunar New Year to you.
Thanks. I'm sure that's the proper greeting. So back in episode 93, we did cuffing season. So today we're going to do uncuffing season.
Cool.
So to give everyone a refresher, I went back to my notes of what cuffing season is. The last time we talked about this, I found an article on askmen.com entitled Internet Dating Slang Terms for You Need to Know in 2020. So I'm sure all these have not dated at all in light of the COVID era. So cuffing season. Cuffing season is a period between early fall and late winter when everyone starts to shack up with the nearest half-decent single person to ward off loneliness and cold during the cooler months. Cuffing season typically implied a short-term, mutually beneficial arrangement that's strictly seasonal, and it ends as soon as the leaves start turning green again.
Yeah, it's. I don't know about. I haven't really seen a ton of this in real life, but it's an interesting. Nobody's approached me to say, "Can we spend the fall together?" But maybe it's just me.
I don't know why, because you have a very warm and snuggly beard.
Yeah.
Like when I get cold, I think about your beard.
Yeah,
and
man.
I think about that it would probably warm me up.
Yeah.
So
you just need to be in the same room as the beard too. You don't even have to like touch it.
Just the power's going.
But you're going to want from it. You're going to want to.
Yeah. And something else you're going to want to do is to know where we think this term came from. So also from the same article, it was used as college jargon, supposedly, but it was also used in the title of a 2013 song by the rapper Fabulous. Now, fabulous has an O after the fab. That does it. I don't know if it's still supposed to be fabulous or fabulous. Maybe he's Italian. I don't think so, but just saying to say that. Want to make sure that we've been hashtag diversity as we look at this. So
Fabulous.
keeping with hashtag diversity, I'm going to read some lyrics from his song, not Cuffing Season, but Cuffin' Season.
Mm-hmm.
So just to predicate this, that I am going to read the actual lyrics, and there's some terms in parentheses that I'll say that you'll notice when I'm doing those. And also there's some words that wouldn't make this a PG-13 podcast. So if you hear some words that don't seem to fit, it's probably me doing my own editorializing.
I really hope he rhymed cuffin with muffin.
Well, let's find out. These hoes keep calling. I ain't picking up. Yeah. These hoes keep calling. I ain't picking up. Yeah. Told these hoes I'll be back around June. Around June. Told these hoes I'll be back around June. Better yet, I'll change my numbers for the whole winter. Who? Damn, it's so friggin' cold in the winter. Woo! These hoes keep calling. I ain't picking up. What? Damn, so cold in the friggin' winter. Yeah. So I haven't listened to the song, but I'm pretty sure, just the way I've read it, it has to be how the song, like the cadence goes. I think I got it.
I think you nailed it.
I think I did too. So I went back through the lyrics, and the song again is entitled "Cuffin' Season."
Mm-hmm.
But I went through all the lyrics, and cuffin or cuffing are never mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So is it really talking about cuffing season? I would say yes. And also, we're not done with this song. So more on the song shortly. So you would hear something called cuffing season and know that there's another term out there called uncuffing season. You might think it's just the exact opposite. Again, the yin to the yang.
That would be my guess.
So I'm not sure, but I never want to assume. So let's check into it. And I went straight to the source. When it comes to new slang, we all know the source we got to go to, and that's Urban Dictionary. Mm-hmm. So let's see how Urban Dictionary defines cuffing season. Or pardon me, uncuffing season.
Uncuffing, okay.
Uncuffing. Usually during the spring and summer months, when people who were previously in relationships during the winter break up with their girlfriend/boyfriend to be free for the summer and warm months, so you can play the field, not be tied down during the best times of your life. And as always for Urban Dictionary, it is very romantic. There's a good quote. So Jake is going to speak to his friend Justin. Jake, dude, it's uncuffing season. You got to break up with Jess. Justin, I know, bro. I will bow to hook up with Sam and Jane. Mm. So maybe we talked before about single poly day. Yeah. And maybe Justin's a candidate for that because he thinks he's leaving Jess and he thinks he's going to hook up with Sam and Jane.
Right. But, and I like, and Sam could be, who knows the pronoun situation there? Could be anybody.
Yeah. And who knows? I mean, we're going to release this like in 2 days. So it could change by then even. Yeah. You know, even if we knew what the pronoun situation was, I think that's a very, flexible situation. Yeah. So what I've figured out through, what I've researched is cuffing season is a period between early fall and late winter, and uncuffing season, pretty much spring and summer months. I liked how we heard earlier when the leaves start to turn, which I think is good because you might be in a region that gets warmer earlier than another one. So cuffing season might be different, if you live in the South versus the North.
I know the poor bastards in Minnesota, they got about 2 weeks span where they get uncuffed to go find their own Sam and Jane. Then it's back to being cuffed because it's always cold.
Yeah. So the way I look at it is cuffing season is basically a type of sexual hibernation that you're going to go away for a while and you got to kind of take care of your needs. An uncuffing season, if done right, maybe you emerge thinner and ready to eat. Yeah. Also, if done right.
Sexual hibernation is like the worst Marvin Gaye song.
That could be. That's like that song should stay in Prince's vault forever and never come. Even though he would make, if he had a song called Sexual Hibernation, it would be pretty good.
Yeah, it would be because hibernating would mean something completely different, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I mentioned previously that I was going to come back to Fabulous. I thought he would
Mm.
be a good person to test my theory of, cuffing season is sexual hibernation, that maybe you come out, spring hits and you're, toned and ready to eat. Maybe not even metaphorically, because let me tell you some more lyrics from Fabulous.
Oh boy.
Oh, you've been working out? Word? You think I'm dumb or what? I know how a winter gut turn into a summer butt.
This is actually good.
It is, but then there's one more thing to complicate that, because I think I know where he's going, but then he says this. She thinking Philippe, I'm thinking Chipotle. Yeah. I heard bitches commit sins for Chipotle.
Well, that's news to me.
That is. So, I mean, I was just really, really baffled of thinking, you come out of cuffing season kind of hibernated, kind of maybe a little portly, and you got to thin it out there towards the end. But maybe you come out hungry. But maybe that's a metaphor for something else. Maybe Fabulous uses Chipotle as a sexual metaphor. I'm not sure.
I don't even want to, if that's true, I don't even want to know what it means. But it also could be that he's trying to lose weight by going to Chipotle and getting food poisoning, which, by the way, I don't know. I've only been to Chipotle a couple times in my life, so I can talk about it. But do they really have those issues, or is it like one time it happened and now for the rest of time we can make that joke?
They had at some point so many issues, and this is true, that they had a national day that they closed all their restaurants and trained the staff on cleanliness.
Wow.
So
there you go. Who knows? It could. There's a lot of different ways it could go with the whole Chipotle line. I will say, I do like the whole thing about how the winter gut turns into a summer butt.
Yeah. I think that's a good way to look at it. I mean, I don't know how true that is, but it's a positive way to look at it. I mean, it's something to think about, that, the next time I'm trying to like get my jeans over my stomach and people in my house gawk at me, one, remind them what I bought them for Valentine's Day. And then two, say, look, winter gut equals summer butt. And, what can you say back to that? Not much.
Nothing. Now get in the car. We're going to Chipotle.
Yeah. And then do that. Yeah. So, uncuffing season, as we talked about, it starts in winter time and you're supposed to release in spring. And something that's interesting about talking about this right now, uncuffing season, is that I would think being around Valentine's Day, and it's been a long time since I've been out there in the wild. I would imagine it's pretty tough to uncuff somebody around Valentine's Day without your reputation being besmirched. Overall. So, I mean, in just kind of putting you on the spot here, are there any ways you can get it, like, be like our romance attorney? Is there a way to like uncuff this close to Valentine's Day without some sort of, future penalty being levied against you?
It's a great question. I would say my personal take is you can uncuff day of if you need to. And here's why. Why. Although I like where your head's, I can see the idea of like maybe putting one day for every month you've been together or something like that. Say you got at least, if you've been together a year, you got at least uncuff 12 days before Valentine's Day. The reason I say there should be no limit, there should be no lead time needed, is because you start doing that. Then next thing you know, well, my birthday's in September. My dog's, the anniversary of the day I rescued my dog is in January. Right. Well, Christmas, I can't do it. Christmas, you know what I mean? So I think there's you set that precedent. No, you need to put word out there that it could happen on the day of. So that's now, having said all that, I've never done that, and probably would never have the guts to do it. But in theory, if that situation did arise, that would be my rationale.
But you might have a winter gut that you could use that to turn into a summer butt.
Yeah. Ladies, how do you feel about and then there's just like, it still looks the same.
Yeah.
Well, have you listened to Fabulous? Because
have you been to Chipotle lately?
That's right. Get in the back. We're going to Chipotle.
So before I give my final thoughts on uncuffing season, I wanted to share an article I came across from Cosmopolitan, and it gives me a chance to discuss Cosmopolitan. As I see it as a magazine, it's been giving women really bad advice for over 50 years. I look at Cosmo and I just wonder how many cases of herpes have been generated by some of the advice that's been given, but that's just me.
Wow,
So,
you're right.
hey, you can talk about giving a gift on Valentine, a gift that keeps on giving. Thank you, Cosmo.
CDC needs to shut down Cosmo. I remember the first time, like, I remember being like at a drugstore when I was a kid and like looking at a Cosmopolitan and like right on the cover, it's like, I couldn't believe how it was like, make him orgasm over and over. And you're like, what are they? What? And then I definitely opened it to be like, well, what's up with this? And it's just straight up. You're telling the people that read this, I don't know. It's like you said, the CDC needs to shut down. And this is something else,
right?
YouTube or NSA or anybody, y'all need to fight the real evil, which is freaking Cosmo.
Yeah,
more people have probably died from Cosmo than COVID. And I stand by that.
Okay,
that's a scientific
that's a fact. Check that, YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So let's see. Let's put that to the test. So there's an article called The 7 Best Things About Uncuffing Season. So number 1, it's the simplest, clearest way to go your own ways. I don't think I disagree with that. It's nice and simple. Look, we shack down during the winter. Things are green. That Chipotle's open.
It's a built-in exit ramp.
Yeah,
I guess. I mean, what it sounds like is it's technically not, but now we're creating this exit ramp, so you can just be like, "Hey, look, it was a cuffing deal." Oh, just a new terminology to where I can be an ass.
Yeah. So number 2, being on your own is inherently more fun in the summer.
Okay.
So maybe not. Summer is my favorite holiday, but again, I haven't been single in forever, so I don't know what I've been missing out on. So I think that's one that's kind of debatable. Now, this next one, I'm gonna see. Let's see what you think. Number 3, going on more dates is 110% better.
I don't understand. 110% better than what? Like, oh, when you're uncuffed?
I'm just reading. I'm just your cipher here.
I actually have a comment about the last one.
Yes.
Which I was thinking about this. Personally, I would rather be single and going on dates in the winter because I have a little bit of an issue with sweating. And so I sweat way less in the winter. So all of a sudden it's like I'm going to break out and like eat, and then my winter butt is going to pop down, and then I'm going to eat some Chipotle. I will be sweating profusely on every date. So I would rather cuff in the summer when you're stuck with me and my sweatiness, and then go out with my flannels and be nice and cold, and I can layer too. So look sexier.
That's a good point. I'll maybe write
just pushing back a little bit. Yeah.
And just rebut that and send them some pictures of you. All right. Continuing. Number 4. Again, I'm reading from this article here. 2 words: vacation, hookups.
Okay. Now that's actually a good point.
Okay.
Well, because you could, there's definitely something nice about going on a summer vacation. Let's say you and some friends go to a beach somewhere and you're completely unencumbered. So then you're like, hey man, whatever happens, this is great. I can meet somebody. If you're still with that clingy cuffer from the winter, I mean, so that's the best point so far.
So I don't want to turn anyone more off from us than I have already.
I'm working really hard today,
but I'm trying my best too. So let me conclude with with number 7: summer sex greater than winter sex.
No, again, let's go back to the sweating.
Yeah. And you're basically pre-sweatered year round, not sweating. Just you've generated your own hibernation blanket from your face. But
not just the face.
Yeah.
We did have a conversation about back hair.
Yeah.
So
I
just saying there's already some built-in hibernation material.
And maybe this is a men and women difference. Like, the summer sex greater than winter sex. I'm kind of like a guy of like, I like pizza. And even when pizza isn't good, it's still pizza. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I could winter
totally
pizza,
agree.
summer pizza, you know, whatever sort of lunar New Year pizza,
Ooh.
whatever. There's something there. There's
Lunar
a
New Year sex. Hey, baby, you know what today is.
And I was actually thinking about pizza when I said it, but maybe why not the sex? Why not, ruin another holiday for me or for other people by me? So uncuffing season. I'm going to say I like it. I can't remember if I like cuffing season, but I think it kind of makes sense. It tells you what you need to know in the term. I'm sure I can't think off the top of my head other terms that maybe are more concise or better, but I think it gets the job done. You know what you're talking about when you see it.
Yeah, and I don't remember what I said about cuffing season, but I like uncuffing season because it is the other half to that whole. Because if there's a cuffing season, there must be an uncuffing season. So I think we've gone full circle. That was a good one, Steve.
All right, and that was our new slang.
All right. So I definitely have made myself out to be. There's a reason why. Now you can see why there's a reason why. I'm going to be celebrating Single Awareness Day this year, or no, excuse me, Black Day or whatever it is. I would be eating noodles with South Koreans because of,
hey, you could maybe get into mukbang. Here's your chance.
Oh,
just saying.
I never wanted to hear that word again.
You got to monetize somehow because it's not going to be this episode.
Well, listen, we're going to move on. And if you recall, before we went into the new slang, we had just talked about the St. Valentines, the different ones that all got beheaded, and that, okay, there's a theory that St. Patrick's Day came in the middle of February because that's when he was killed. But there are other people that have a different theory. And this one I found to be quite fascinating. So basically there's this thing called Lupercalia, or I think it's actually pronounced Lupercalia, but I'll probably be saying it a multiple of ways over the next 10 minutes or so.
Thank you.
But the root word there, lupine, meaning of the wolf. So Lupercalia was wild. It was a pagan celebration. And so then when the Christian, and by the way, this may be ringing some bells for you, Steve, and me, in that there was a time when growing up when a certain organization decided we're not going to celebrate any. All of a sudden they found out, like breaking news, that a lot of the holidays we celebrate were once based in pagan roots, and it was like, oh well, no can do.
And then 2 months later, there was other breaking news that their coffers went down when people left the church because of that. So,
it's like, we'll go along with pretty much anything.
Yeah. Even people going to Chesterfield.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll roll with that, but don't take our holiday. Don't take freaking, don't take Easter away just because Ishtar was involved. So anyway, but this is one of those where, let me tell you though, about the Lupercalius and how that worked. So to begin the festival, members of the Luperci, which was an order of Roman priests, would gather at a sacred cave where the infants Romulus and Remus, the founders of Rome, in mythology, right? They were believed to have been cared for in this cave by a she-wolf or a lupa, hence the name Lupercalia. From February 13th to the 15th, Romans celebrated the Feast of Lupercalia. So it's a feast, it's fun, it's pagan. What did they do? Well, first off, the priests would sacrifice a goat for fertility. I mean, you can kind of see it.
Yeah.
What's a party without a sacrificed goat?
Yeah.
But then they would sacrifice a dog for purification.
Ooh.
So I'm starting to, this doesn't sound as fun as before.
Yeah.
It does say that these Roman romantics, they called them, were drunk, they were naked, running around. This is the guy Noel Linsky. By the way, I've been referencing an article on history.com as well as one on npr.org. One of them is called the Dark History or Dark Origins of Valentine's Day, and the other one's just the history of Valentine's Day. So this guy Noel Linsky says they were running around naked, and once they killed the dog and the goat, young men would take strips of meat and start whipping the women with it. This is all part of the party. And guess what? The women weren't mad about that. They actually would line up for the men to hit them.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Scorpions video from 1984.
I know. This is when I knew I had to do this one as I'm reading through this, because this is a real thing that happened. And the reason, if you remember, they killed that goat. Honestly, I still don't know why they killed the dog, except for purification, whatever the heck that means.
Yeah.
The goat, though, the guys would be slapping the crap out of the women with the goat meat, and the women would line up for this because they believed it would make them fertile.
Ah.
Okay. So then what they would do after that was they'd have like this big cask, and they'd put all the women would put their names in this cask, and then the young men would pull out, basically it's like a lottery situation. They would draw names of the women from the jar, and then you would couple up with that woman. And, let's just say, Cosmo probably would have had some advice.
I was going to say, this sounds like a Cosmo article that someone dug up from 1978, but you never know. Wow. It sounds memorable. And it sounds like that, the goat meat wasn't the only thing that would be slapped by the end of end of that party. So
you can see where, okay, a Christian Pope or a Pope, or obviously a Christian Pope, would have, when Christians are empowered, they're going to not be too fond of this pagan behavior and all the goat meat slapping and all the other slapping that came with that. So, okay, let's pull it all together now. We've got the St. Valentine's stuff, kind of romantic. So, and then you've got this Lupercalia thing, which is just hedonism, kind of killing dogs. Come on. So how do they come together? In the fifth century, Pope Gelasius I, which there's 0% chance I'm pronouncing that right, but he combined St. Valentine's Day with Lupercalia to get rid of the pagan rituals. Okay. So there was still a festival, because you can't just take all that away. But essentially, the historian Linsky says it was a little more than a drunken revel. The Christians put clothes back on it, but it was still all about fertility and love. And around that same time, the Normans celebrated something called Gallatin's Day, which Gallatin meant lover of women. So I think that there's some thought here that these two holidays they sounded very similar, Gallatin's Day and Valentine's Day, that there was some confusion in it about which was which, but I guess that's neither here nor there. But Pope Gelasius I basically deemed he's the first one to deem February 14th, Valentine's Day. It didn't get the same association with love like it has now until much later. So during the Middle Ages, it was commonly believed in France and England that February 14th was the beginning of, you could never made this up, birds' mating season, which added to the idea that Valentine's Day should be a day for romance. I guess, if you think about living back in the Middle Ages, you're not looking at a screen all day long. Birds. You kind of pay attention more to the world around you, like, all kidding aside. So that probably was kind of a big deal, like the behavior of birds and bird watching. So you had to observe that and, have a discussion about it and figure out what you wanted to do. And they probably didn't have anyone there to go on Twitter to complain that people, were thinking they should breed because the birds did, and to have them shut down. Exactly.
So, it makes sense to me.
Simpler times.
Yeah, simpler times back then. And start of spring. And frankly, if you've been cuffed inside and you're not pregnant, probably helpful to, before springtime hits and you get busy doing work outside again, to go ahead and get a bun in the oven.
Yeah, exactly. First you got to get slapped with some goat meat.
So
the famous, obviously, English poet Geoffrey Chaucer was the first to record St. Valentine's Day as a day of romantic celebration in his 1375 poem, Parliament of Fowls. And the quote is, "For this was sent on St. Valentine's Day, when every fowl cometh there to choose his mate." So there you have it, 1375, Geoffrey Chaucer. First time we see it in the way that, starting to go toward where it would become as it is today. This hybrid of the martyrs, St. Valentine's, with this hedonistic festival coming together, and then bird watching, etc. So it's all sort of coming together here. So Valentine greetings were popular as far back to the Middle Ages. So you might say, "Hey, happy Valentine's Day," or make it somewhat romantic. Written Valentines didn't begin to appear until after 1400, so a few years later. I thought this was interesting. The oldest known Valentine in existence today was a poem written in 1415 by Charles, Duke of Orleans, to his wife while he was imprisoned in the Tower of London by his following his capture of the Battle of Agincourt. Which, I mean, that is pretty romantic, actually.
Yeah.
By the middle of the 18th century, it was common in the countries that celebrated Valentine's Day, so like the UK, France, that on Valentine's Day, February 14th, they would give each other handwritten notes and gifts. By 1900, printed cards began replacing handwritten letters, and that's when it all there was some people like us going, this printing press, which kind of had a point, changed everything, right?
And John Hallmark's like, I see an opportunity here to make some money.
Well, and I wondered if I should even go into this because everybody knows who the mother of Valentine's is, right? You haven't heard of Esther Howland? Yes.
Oh, Esther Howland.
Esther Howland.
Yeah.
So in the 1840s, Esther Howland began selling the first mass-produced Valentine's cards, and she became known as the mother of Valentine's. It's actually kind of cool, though. When you first hear that, you're like, oh, okay, this is taking the personal aspect away. But the Valentines she made were pretty cool. They were elaborate creations with lace, ribbons, and colorful pictures, known as scrap, which, scrapbooking, I guess, comes from that same term. Today, according to, I think this was 2021 when this article was written, according to the Greeting Card Association, an estimated 145 million Valentine's Day cards are sent each year, making Valentine's Day the second largest card sending holiday of the year. Any idea what the first one is?
Single Poly Day?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Christmas is actually
number one. Christmas, okay.
Solo Poly Day.
That's gonna be my next guess.
Yeah. Hey, one more thing I wanted to share, because I once I saw this and read about this, I'd never heard of it. I said I've got to share this on the show. So as I was looking at the Valentine's Day cards that are really cool that were made back in the day by Esther Howland, there was an article talking about another type of card that used to go out, and frankly, I kind of like them. I think they should come back. And they're called Vinegar Valentines. Have you ever heard of Vinegar Valentines?
I haven't, but it sounds bitter and spiteful. So let's learn about this.
Let's read. I have to read a couple of these. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see these, and they're pretty great. So I'm going to scroll through a couple of these and read them for those of you that are listening. So just to give you an idea of these Vinegar Valentines, basically the point of them is essentially, from what I can gather, well, let me just read. Okay. So the first one, it's a picture of a woman holding a huge lemon, like an enormous lemon, handing it to some dude who doesn't look like he wants the lemon.
Yeah.
And what it says, this is from 1909, and the card is called Valentine. It says, "To my Valentine, 'tis a lemon that I hand you and bid you no skidoo." I think that's supposed to say bid you now skidoo. It's the typo. "'Tis a lemon that I hand you and bid you now skidoo. Because I love another, there is no chance for you."
Man,
imagine going out of your way. But honestly, we both have daughters. I'm fine with it. Like, you want to tell some dude stay away from me? Go for it.
I could see Fabulous seeing that and being inspired to do his Cuffing Season song about, the hoes wanting to go to Chipotle.
Exactly. Now, this next one, I don't know if it would go over too well today, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. And again, I'm just reading this.
Yeah.
This is from the 1840s. And the name of this Vinegar Valentine is called Suffrage Vinegar Valentine. And here's what it says. "You may think it fun, poor Cupid to snub with the hand of a suffragette, but he's cunning and smart. There's the rub. Revenge is the trap he will set." Hold on. I thought there was more to this. Basically, it's anti. Oh, here we go. No, this is the one. Okay. The Women's Rights Vinegar Valentine's Day from 1840s. and this is right in line with the last one, but a little bit more clear on what they're saying.
Okay.
The women's rights, and by the way, the picture here is of a woman wearing is she wearing a monocle and a hat? She's wearing more traditionally male clothes. This is except for the fact that there's a skirt at the bottom, but she's wearing a bow tie. And I'm not sure what she's holding there, like a conductor's stick or something, or a golf club, like a tiny golf club.
It does look like a tiny golf club.
Yeah. So here's what this one says. The Women's Rights Vinegar Valentine's Day. A man would give this to a lady. And it says, while you ladies seem bent on getting ahead, as your women's rights fightings declare, we men are believing you'll find out instead that your fussing will all end in air. So this, I believe, if I'm reading this right, is basically like, good luck with, oh, here's another women's rights one. Here's another one. I didn't know these were all to a modern woman. This is from a guy to a modern woman in the 1840s. It says, you've got to vote and think it's your mission to go to the polls like a bum politician. And while you are voting, your husband must roam for something to eat, which he can't find at home. He's getting dyspepsia and can't work for pain. Your children neglected you for you in vain. While you make speeches from a broken soap box, your family is wearing soiled clothes and torn socks.
Wow. I would love to think that this is how Hallmark made their first million, was off the vinegar.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
These pictures are great. I'm going to do one more because we can't leave on like three like misogynistic ones in a row. Right. This one is from a woman to a man. And I do like this one too, because it's the woman is dumping looks like probably a bucket of cold water on a suitor here. So again, things were more brutal back in the proverbial day.
Yeah.
You would go out of your way to hand these Vinegar Valentines out. So from a woman to a man, it says, Vinegar Valentine, here's a pretty cool reception. At least you'll say there's no deception. It says as plain as it can say, old fellow, you'd best step away.
Ooh.
Which honestly is pretty good. And it sounds like it could have been like a, I don't know, what's a 90s, like a Queen Latifah or
it could be some sort of, I'm sure we'll find another woman rapper that we remember later.
Who did Roughneck? Gotta get a MC Light. Yeah,
I could see that being.
Couldn't you see that? Because it literally says step. It's basically like, hey, it's a cool reception, but at least there's no deception.
Yeah,
I'm dumping you with cold water, and it says step away.
It definitely has like a late 80s, early 90s rap vibe to it. I mean, I could see if you could Photoshop in an 8-ball jacket in that maybe, or maybe like a thing with Bugs Bunny wearing backwards clothes. I think that would, maybe you could make it. It just reminded me as you said that.
Yeah. I
think we could bring this back because I have one more verse from Fabulous I didn't share with you.
Please share.
If I could share with it now.
Yeah.
From the same song, by the way. She bartended. He paid for the shots. Budweiser Limerita for the thoughts. Hard dick and bazooka. Okay. Maybe a little hookah.
Okay.
So I actually think that the vinegar ones rhyme a little bit better. I don't know if even they had bazookas back in the day, and I don't know if they'd be allowed to ride something with hard dick, but it's a thought. But I'm impressed by those. I think that's great, and I like that they're hashtag diversity. I mean, some of them were pretty rough on the ladies, but the ladies also had a chance to give it back to the fellas there.
I agree. I mean, listen, it does paint a picture too. And some things I think never change because basically you either have the woman saying, please get away from me. Or like, again, they're looking forward to this time of year because they're like, oh gosh, I can give this Vinegar Valentine Day to the guy that's hassling me. And then the guys are like, get in the kitchen. Basically. Yeah. Because you don't want to be my Valentine because you're liberated and stuff. Go make a pie. So, I mean, I said some things never change. Hopefully that changes.
I don't do that. I agree. The agreement is I'll never buy a gift, and then I do. And I have yet to share a Vinegar Valentine, but maybe you got to spice things up sometimes. Put a little sour with the sweet.
Absolutely. So listen, before we wrap this up and I give this to you, I feel like because give this to you to take us out. I feel like we should do at least one term.
Okay.
And I actually had 3 I was going to do, but I'm not going to do those because we've got an hour in. I'll save these maybe for another one, but I did want to do one which we absolutely know where it came from, and I'm only doing it for one reason, which is that I want to read the Urban Dictionary.
Yes.
And that is puppy love. So puppy love, you may be surprised to hear, is just as simple as, it could be. It just means, it's young love. It's basically the hormones are going, you got a crush on someone, you're infatuated, you got that puppy love, but it's in the same way that a little puppy would just give you those puppy dog eyes and love you unconditionally. That's sort of that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
And also because we talked about a lot of rough stuff, a lot of beheadings, and then unfortunately poor dogs being sacrificed for no good reason. At least the goats, I thought there was a pretty good reason. Yeah. So there's really no real etymology or backstory on puppy love, which in a weird way is just refreshing. Yeah. But I did go to the Urban Dictionary, and I just like to read the entry, and then I'm going to be done.
Okay.
Puppy love. The phase when you think you are in love and possibly have sexual fantasies about the other person, in parentheses, unless you've already done it. Between young and immature teenagers. Of course, there have been some cases reported of adults going through it too. If you're reading this right now and older than 30, chances are you've already been through this once and hopefully learned something. I thought that was a very interesting, like who's writing this? And here's the example, and I'll leave you with this, which is, hey, John, I think I'm in love with that pretty blonde over there in Miss McMillan's class. Oh, grow up, Nathan. She'll just break you in the end. You're experiencing severe symptoms of puppy love. So there it is. So you need somebody like John to keep you in check and remind you, if you're in the middle of puppy love, that as it says here. And by the way, I know it sounds like I'm like hammered or something and fumbling over my words.
No.
The amount of typos and misspellings in this are cute but hard to read. So she'll just end up breaking you in the end, according to John. So.
And I think that's, for a romantic themed episode, I think that's the perfect ending for it.
Actually, there is one more thing.
Oh, okay.
I love you.
Thank you for your service.
Oh my gosh. That was a test. You passed. That was a friendship test. Good job.
You're welcome. And I love you too.
Oh, you were so close. All right. I love you too, buddy. And with that, why don't we bring it home?
You got it. Thank you very much for listening to Origin of Species. If you enjoyed the show, please help us spread the word by liking, commenting, and subscribing on YouTube. Leave a comment, even if it's bad, even if you don't like my bandana. I don't care. Just comment something. However, if you're going to comment on Apple Podcasts, leave a positive review and a 5-star rating. And for more great content and to support our show directly, become a Speaksies supporter at patreon.com/Speaksies. Any amount of support provides you access to all our great bonus content, including access to other Speaksies shows, including our exclusive video podcast, Speaksies Uncut, and also 3 silly questions. For all this and more, go to patreon.com/Speaksies. That's patreon.com/Speaksies.
And remember, Bob's your uncle.
Watch out for bears. Kale is from the devil.
Speaksies.